What's up everyone, it's Tyler from Cali Critic Reviews, and first I'd like to thank all of you who asked me questions to do this big video, and I got a lot more responses than I thought I would get. I thought I was only going to get about 10 or 12 maybe. You guys gave me over 30 different questions. But here's the thing though, I can't answer all of them because then this video is just going to go on for way too long. And some of you asked similar questions that some others already asked. So I decided to split the ones up. Like say if you asked multiple questions, I took some that were my favorites of yours and gave those as the ones I'd answer. So, let's do this. First, gotta switch camera sides. Whoa. Alright, let's do this. The first set of questions comes from my buddy 12IVHL, and he asks me, when are you gonna see Rubber, because that movie was awesome, and what's your favorite video game? I'm planning to see Rubber soon. I mean, of course I have on demand and it's available, so it depends when I'll get around to seeing it, but I really want to because a Killer Tire movie, it's got me intrigued all the way for a good old B movie. And since I don't play many video games anymore really, I have to say that my favorite video game is probably either Crackdown or Dead Rising. Crackdown was created by GTA creator David Jones, and it's just the best free-roaming game I've played in years. And shout out to all you Dawn of the Dead fans. Quit ranting on Dead Rising for being a ripoff of Dawn of the Dead, because it really isn't. It's got a lot more of a mystery behind it. The next set of questions comes from the Movie 300, and his first question is, do you like The Simpsons? Yeah, I enjoy The Simpsons. I think it's a good show. I always get a good laugh out of it. But I always like to watch Futurama more because me being a sci-fi geek, I just love how they poke fun at the future and all the slapstick comedy that ensues. I mean, I just love that show so much. I'll watch it almost every day of my life. Like, if there were like 5 TV shows in the world that I'd have to sit through for the rest of my life, Futurama would definitely be one of those. His next question is, Blu-ray or DVD player? Who would win a fight? High definition quality, picture perfect surround sound, and interactive bonus features versus average quality along with decent bonus features but not great. Well, we know who wins that fight. Blu-ray, of course. He also asks, who are your top 5 favorite directors? My top 5 favorite directors would be, in this order, Quentin Tarantino, David Fincher, Christopher Nolan, Stanley Kubrick, and a big upset, Edgar Wright. Next question comes from the Critic with the Mouth, and he asks, what comic would you like to see adapted into a film or one in which it would work for a film or TV show? Mine, 100 Bullets for a new TV series. Garth Ennis's The Boys. Now, Adam McKay has been slated to direct the film of this, and I really want to see it happen. But the problem is, there's no script, no producers, no cast, no nothing. But this movie has got to get made. The Boys is such an entertaining comic book series as it portrays superheroes as the villains this time. And the way it has these agents to wipe them out if they break their code, I find very intriguing. And plus, the comic has a lot of good, dark humor that mixes along with the ultra-violence. I actually think the writers of Zombieland would be perfect to work with this type of film too. Next question comes from Gavin Dad, and they ask, what do your friends and family think of your YouTube hobby? I just recently started showing my parents my YouTube videos. They don't really watch them that much because I never really choose to let them to, but I recently let my parents see my Battle Los Angeles review. They like what I do. I mean, they've always been looking for a hobby in which I'm always going to commit myself to all the time, and something that I love doing. I mean, I love doing these videos alone, so they just go, you know what? Good for you. You're going with something that you love to do. My friends otherwise, only one of my best friends has seen my channel. Everyone else knows I have one. I just have never shown them the videos for that though. Next question comes from Least Liked Critic 75, and he asks, which superhero movie are you looking forward to in 2011? Captain America, Green Lantern, Thor, or X-Men First Class? Originally, that spot was held by Thor because I'm such a huge fan of that comic series. But the more they've been showing of Captain America, I am getting psyched out of my mind to see that. Like, I was all skeptical when they first announced this, especially when Joe Johnston was announced as the director and that Chris Evans was going to play Steve Rogers. I was not looking forward to it at all. But with the Super Bowl spot, the first photo of Red Skull, and the photos of Captain America in action, it looks epic as hell for sure. So definitely Captain America now. Sorry, Thor. Next question comes from Osmatabeast23, and he asks, what is your favorite musical artist? I just have to turn around my camera a few times to show you the Green Day posters in my room because they've always been my favorite musical artist. I saw them live on my 16th birthday, which is still the best birthday I've ever had, and that was the best show I've ever been to. They played for 2.5 hours without any breaks through all their new songs off their 21st Century Breakdown album, and then they came back out, did a bunch of their old hits for another hour or so. No one can put on a 3.5-hour concert like Green Day can. And they have such an amazing stage presence. They bring people up on stage. Billy Joe gets interacted with the crowd all the time. So definitely Green Day. Next question comes from Quanell Show, and he asks, what's the worst movie you saw last year? I literally have to put that as a three-way tie between The Last Airbender, Vampire Suck, and Furry Vengeance. I mean, I hated The Last Airbender so much. I mean, I have lost faith in M. Night Shyamalan completely as a filmmaker after that. And also, Furry Vengeance was just, it felt like it was written by a bunch of 5-year-olds. It was so painful to watch. It was painful enough to watch Brendan Fraser embarrass himself the whole film, so yeah, I hated that film. And Vampire Suck, it's by Freeberg and Seltzer. You do the math. Next question comes from my buddy David from Path of Oblivion, and he asks, who is your favorite critic, and can you act? My favorite critic is Richard Roeper, and originally that position was held by Roger Ebert, but I begin to like Richard Roeper's reviews a lot more because he gets to cuss to them and push the limit with what he says sometimes. I mean, I get entertained by almost everything that he says in his reviews, so definitely Richard Roeper. And yes, I can act. However, I'm more of a behind-the-scenes guy when it comes to videos and in the making process and all that stuff. I act when I feel like it, though. I mean, people say I am a good actor, but I only choose to because I like directing and writing so much more. Next set of questions come from Bullet Guy 97, and he asks, what are some of your favorite movies, and which movies do you think are underrated and overrated? Some of my favorites for sure would be along with these lines: Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, Lawrence of Arabia, Star Wars, The Terminator. I mean, the list is just endless. I mean, it would be so hard for me to do all my favorite movies down that road because I have a lot of favorites. It's kind of hard for me to break them up. I'd have to literally break them up into genres for how much I have favorites for. And for my overrated movie, I'm gonna have to say True Grit. I thought it was alright, but not mind-blowing like most critics said it was. I loved Haley Steinfeld's performance in it, and I really liked Jeff Bridges and Matt Damon, but the rest of the film just felt too rushed. I mean, the whole climax scene, I wanted so much out of that, and yet again, it just felt so rushed and kind of cliched because it all just came so predictable at the end. So, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to put True Grit as my overrated movie. However, underrated movies, I have several for that. Lord of War, which is definitely Nicolas Cage's most underrated film. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is definitely the most underrated film of last year. I hate that people saw Vampire Suck more than they saw Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. That was my favorite. Well, not one of my favorite, but one of my favorite movies of last year. It mixed together everything nostalgic that I had. Video game references, video game style fight scenes, crazy relationships, crazy characters. I love all that stuff. When doesn't someone love all that stuff? Next question comes from my friend Tom from Killer Camera, and he asks, what is your favorite overrated movie of all time? I am a James Cameron fan, so I'm gonna have to say it's a tie between Avatar and Titanic. I loved Avatar for the visuals, of course. I don't care if the story was all too hackneyed and stuff. I really loved the film. And I recently got the 3-disc extended collector's edition on Blu-ray. I haven't got a chance to watch that yet, but I really like Avatar the way it was before. And Titanic I really like too. I mean, a lot of people say that was the most overrated film of 1997, but I really enjoyed it. The visuals were great, the whole set design, cinematography, everything was just really good about that film. Next set of questions comes from MRC Nub, and he asks, I'd love to hear your top 5 favorite movies of 2010. And which upcoming movie do you think has the best trailer? Well, my top 5 favorite movies from 2010 was an interesting list, so I'll go in descending order for that. My 5th favorite movie of 2010 was 127 Hours. 4th, The King's Speech, but this is where it got difficult. 3rd, I put Black Swan. 2nd, Inception, and 1st, The Social Network. Trust me, those top 3 spots were really hard for me to make. And an upcoming film this year that I think has the best trailer, surprisingly, is one hardly any of you might have heard of. And that is the trailer for James Gunn's Super, starring Rainn Wilson, Ellen Page, Kevin Bacon, Liv Tyler, and Nathan Fillion, in which it's yet another low-budget superhero film, but it looks awesome. I mean, anything with Dwight Schrute is awesome enough as it is. Next questions come from Ronet from the Ronet Review, and he asks, what is your least favorite movie of all time? What are some of your favorite actors and actresses? And your most anticipated film for the rest of 2011? Well, my least favorite movie is probably The Happening. I mean, there were so many times which I just wanted to leave the theater during that film because it was so boring. I felt so bad for Mark Wahlberg and Zooey Deschanel being in that film. The acting, horrible, directing, writing, everything was so bad about that movie. You don't even want to get me started on The Happening because I just freaking hated it. Some of my favorite actors and actresses go along the ranks of some people who are really big up-and-comers today, and of course some who are old school. Robert De Niro and Al Pacino are definitely two of my favorites, but my favorite actor of all time is Denzel Washington, because he is just awesome in just about everything he does. And Liam Neeson, of course, too. You can never forget about Liam Neeson. If you don't think Liam Neeson is a great actor, Liam Neeson will come and Liam Neeson you in your throat, of course. And some of my favorite actresses are Natalie Portman, Drew Barrymore I really like, and Meryl Streep, I'm really starting to get into her work too. And my most anticipated film for the rest of 2011 would probably have to go to Captain America. As I said before, that is the movie I'm looking forward to the most for comic book related films coming out this year, but I think Captain America looks awesome. And that's just from a Super Bowl preview and photos. That's how awesome I think it looks. Next set of questions comes from Mr. Noah, and he asks, what is your favorite sci-fi movie, drama, and comedy? My favorite sci-fi movie would probably be a tie between the first Star Wars film, that's A New Hope, not The Phantom Menace, and The Terminator. I just love both those films so much, and they really define the sci-fi genre the way it was back then. My favorite drama film would probably be Pulp Fiction. I mean, I love everything that's Tarantino related, of course. He hasn't disappointed me with one film yet. And my favorite comedy would go to Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb, directed by the great Stanley Kubrick. I laughed so much during that film. It is a fantastic political satire, and that scene between President Merkin and the Soviet Union ambassador is one of the most priceless scenes in cinema history. And the next question comes from John Wesley Downey, and he asks, what is your favorite Stanley Kubrick film? Now, even though I mentioned that I love Dr. Strangelove, I freaking love A Clockwork Orange so much. I think it is a fantastic satire on how society treats violence and how teenagers are like brainwashed by the violence culture and all that stuff. Malcolm McDowell's performance should have won an Oscar that year, and Kubrick got robbed yet again. I saw The French Connection. Definitely not as great as The Clockwork Orange. Alright, we got 2 questions left, so it's almost done. Next question comes from Sean Webcom Official, and he asks, what are some of your favorite YouTubers? Well, of course I tend to focus on a lot of the YouTube movie critics, so Chris Stuckman, Jeremy Johns, Schmoes Know, Tom Chattelbash, Revolution Reviews, Grounded for Life 27 are of course my favorite YouTube critics. Oh yeah, Gavin Dad of course is another favorite of mine, and Ferry the Film Fan. It's kind of hard for me to choose my favorite YouTubers, so I'll just keep on rambling for a little bit on some of my favorites. Freddie W, Make Me Bad 35, Niga Higa, I hope I said that right. My friend Richard over at Channel 23, ha ha ha. I definitely like his videos. And some of my favorite up-and-comers are Dustin from the Countdown Gods, Tom Veliotis from the Killer Camera channel. I think those guys are definitely going to go far as film critics on here as well. So yeah, those are some of my favorite YouTube users. And finally, the last question on here comes from Film Recall. And he asks, if you had to watch the same 5 movies over and over again, what would they be and why? That is a good question because I have a ton of movies in that collection right there, as you can see. So it is definitely hard for me to choose that. Off the top of my head, I'll just say Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, The Dark Knight, Inception, and one of my favorite movies to laugh at, Knocked Up. Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs for its just pure Quentin Tarantino filmmaking. Inception and The Dark Knight because Christopher Nolan is a freaking genius when it comes to filmmaking. And finally, I chose Knocked Up because that movie I laughed so hard at watching. You always gotta leave in the comedy when it comes to those choices. So once again, I thank all of you who left me questions to answer for this video. I really had a lot of fun making it. So if this is your first time visiting my channel, hit that subscribe button above me. I don't know if I'll be seeing anything this weekend because my Battle Los Angeles review is about to eclipse 1,000 views. And the releases going out this weekend besides that don't really look that good, so I might go out and see Cedar Rapids if possible. Or I'll give you guys a vlog because I'm going back to Carlsbad and I might hang out at the mall with my friend there, which I haven't been able to meet up with in a couple weeks. So you can expect videos like that. In the meantime, I'm Tyler from Cow Critic Reviews. Thanks a lot for leaving me all these questions to answer. I had a really great time answering them. So in the meantime, I'll see you guys later.